Wednesday, October 23rd, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, take the X train.
Let's do this.
I can't believe we haven't done a show on this movie, but at the same time...
What do you mean? You can't believe nobody's even talked about this thing in a zillion years.
But there are relevant anecdotes. There is a history of this movie and us.
There are.
There are reasons why we're talking about it. We have said for years around Halloween, we should do a Halloween special. Why don't we do Take the X Train? And then
Geeknights anniversary special.
And then we just never did.
Yeah, it's Halloween, which means, let's see, it's 013, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10, 11, 12. We can count like that.
This will be beginning our 8th year.
8th year of Geeknights.
If Geeknights was a little kid, it would be an 8-year-old kid. Be like, hey, kid, what's up? And be like, hey, how's it going?
And also, while we started on October 31st.
We should have just made a baby instead, right, Rim? Instead of making Geeknights, we could have made a babby.
Maybe not together.
You know, they got technology these days.
We did start on October 31st, but here's the deep secret of Geeknights. We have a lot of new listeners from recent conventions. One, we actually started months before that doing beta episodes that we only gave links to our friends. We were like, hey, we're doing this dumb podcast thing. Insert explanation of what a podcast is, because that didn't really exist as a thing back then.
Well, it had just come into existence. So I mean, it did exist for a while before then, but it didn't come into popular existence until
we had to
the day the iPod Nano was released. They updated iTunes and added podcasting in the podcast directory, and that is
the
when
flyers we brought to Otakon 2006 had a section that was like, "What is a podcast? How do you listen to them?" Good old days.
You don't need an iPod. You can play MP3s. You can listen.
I think I have the flyers around somewhere. I can go find exactly what text we wrote. But regardless, so we did all these beta episodes before that, and it seems like our listeners are kind of obsessed with finding them. And they're out there. I checked. You can just go download them.
There's not that many of them.
There's a decent number. I think all the betas are up there. I don't think there's any unreleased Geeknights at this point. But, yeah, the reason we never did a show
There's
on
some
this,
lost episodes, but those got deleted by accident or some shit, so there's no way to bring them back.
Yep. And then there's I have collections of outtakes, and there's a lot of beta episodes we recorded but didn't put up because they were shitty, and then I think we just deleted them, but we put a lot of them online. So, yeah.
News time?
Well, news time, very briefly, because anime people, there's a big overlap. Yeah, PAX is sold out.
Oh, that's a shame.
PAX East 2014 in April is sold out.
That's a shame.
It went live today. There's no point in even saying, we warned you or whatever, because the thing is, warning doesn't even help anymore.
People seem to have heeded the warning this time, and it was just who got in and who didn't.
It's a crapshoot. There's nothing you can do to have a better chance of getting into PAX unless, one, exhibit.
Be a loser who sits at home every day that is not PAX, and all you do is reload.
2, enforce. Try to be an enforcer. If you can't get into PAX,
be cool enough that they let you be an enforcer.
3, submit panels and lectures.
Be cool enough that they accept them.
Granted, the longer we do this, there's sort of this, if they ever turn us down and they're like, no, Rim and Scott, you can't do a lecture this year.
Fuck
that
me.
That would ruin my day at this point. Like, I couldn't even go. Like, I don't have a badge unless they let us in to do that.
If they don't let us enforce either.
I know. They're like, yeah, we don't need you as an enforcer anymore, and yeah, we don't need your very popular panels anymore. You guys are too mean. Too smelly. Some reason. I would be so sad. But yeah, if you wanted badges, you can pretty much there's still some Fridays left. And there's still some Sundays left, but there aren't hotels. But just to reiterate...
There are hotels on the other side of town.
They're rapidly selling out. I was poking around in the side.
Even the ones over in
you know what's not sold out? The Midtown Hotel. The one that's far away from Anime Boston, alone.
You can get a hotel like maybe, on the T.
Dude, the airport hotel was sold out of Thursdays and Sundays. Yeah. But... if you need a hotel and you can't get one and you try to complain about this, there is literally nothing anyone you could complain to can do about that. Like, it sucks that it's hard to get hotels.
Wait for someone to cancel and grab their room.
No. So I have actually, I've talked to the hotels in the Westin at length, and I have 2 emails from them from a year ago that I have the numbers. Not as in 2012, 95% of the people who booked a room for PAX did not cancel it by the time PAX happened.
No, but there might be someone who's like, hey, I need someone in my room, or they hand it off to someone, or, that wasn't a cancel at the hotel level, but that person may have canceled on PAX, stuff like that happens.
But the less than 5% of people who have a room cancel it at any point. And the hotels do not let you transfer a room to someone else's name in most cases.
No, they don't. But how many times do you hear the story like, all my friends bailed on me, so I can't go now? I hear that story every PAX.
I hear that story too, but a lot of those people don't have a room in the hotel block in the first place.
Maybe, but you know what? When that story happens, that's your one chance. And then all the other people who failed to get that one chance, well, no chance.
Yep. But this is a convention that's occurring in April next year.
Should we even mention this news every time it happens? I feel like it's going to be a 2-time-a-year news no matter what, forever.
Yeah, the only reason I mention it is just because it seems like no one remembers everything I said when this happened for Prime and it sold out super fast. Guys, it is a physical impossibility to make this better. There is literally nothing that can be done.
There is something that can be done.
Okay, yes, the government could build a gigantic convention center and a hotel complex.
There's something else that can be done.
Huh?
You could have the PAXs simultaneously.
If they were simultaneous, I think I would go to PAX Prime.
Me too.
And I think we would send a DVD to PAX East like we
I don't
did
think
to
PAX
Anime
East
Boston.
would want our DVD.
They might. Our DVD would be good. We could do a telepresence.
Ooh.
That would actually be cool.
That would be good.
They could alternate every year. Like 1 year they go to, Mike and Jerry actually go to East and Prime back and forth, but they're simultaneous. And then they just simulcast to both conventions, maybe on a delay because of time zones, all the big events.
Another thing they could do is some crazy, crazy, crazy rich person could just build a hotel convention center because, they want to.
Yeah, but it would lose money.
I didn't say that it wouldn't. I just said
so we would need an
person.
eccentric, crazy rich person.
Well, crazy isn't enough.
Well, did you mean crazy or crazy rich, as in he is crazy rich? Because if you say crazy rich, I think he's just really rich.
No.
So you'd have to say crazy,
crazy,
comma, crazy rich.
Crazy, comma, rich person.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if he's just rich, he might not be able to afford it.
Crazy and also mega rich person.
The plan for that convention center,
a mega rich crazy person
in Flushing, was something like $14 billion. So you'd have to be pretty fucking rich.
Yeah, that's it.
So maybe crazy fucking rich. No, because that still doesn't imply crazy, comma.
A mega rich crazy person.
Yes.
Yes.
That works.
Okay.
So, in the news, you guys might remember Ayumi Hamasaki. I was a huge fan of her J-pop stylings in the early 2000s.
As I still am.
I am also still a fan of Ayumi Hamasaki.
She has an album called I Am. That's what I have to say. I am.
There's a news about her, and it kind of took me back to that era because when I got into anime, when I was in I was 4th grade, I was a young kid. And then later, I found Japanese music once MP3s existed, and I downloaded some music from Megumi, and I was a big fan of Megumi. But then I found out that there were more J-pop people than her, because she was the only person Americans knew about back then. Like, even hardcore anime fans would be hard-pressed to name anyone who was a J-pop idol other than Megumi Hashibara. And then Ayumi kind of got popular when MP3 stuff. Yeah, 2mix, but there's 2 idols.
I'm just saying.
And anyway, were they really J-pop? Were they more, I don't know.
It's Japanese.
Gennaro J-Tech? No.
Whatever.
Regardless, Ayumi Hamasaki is singing the opening to an anime, and she hasn't done this in over a decade. And the anime happens to be Buddha 2.
I didn't even see Buddha 1.
I did not either.
Though. I recommend reading the manga Buddha. It's probably one of the best mangas there is.
Yes, and the anime looks pretty good too. At some point, maybe after the second Buddha
movie comes
if
I had to rank all-time best mangas, it would probably be Phoenix,
best or favorite?
Phoenix, Akira, then Buddha. So 3rd best manga ever.
What about Wounded Man?
Wounded Man is not on the list. In the top part. It's on the bottom part.
So yeah, Buddha movie 2 is coming. Tezuka's Buddha, so it's got all the Buddha and all the Tezuka. combined.
I don't know how much Tezuka made it to the movie because they removed a lot of the Tezuka from the Phoenix anime.
That they did, which
The
in a
recent
way made the anime work better, but it means that now they're basically two separate works and you need to consume both of them.
If you want the wacky Tezuka shit.
Yeah, I enjoy the wacky Tezuka shit. It has its place.
In Buddha, it's a little bit it's crazy. Anyway, so news. This is sort of a really narrow news, but people out there, they may be reading the webcomics, right? And one webcomic that we have been reading for a long ass fucking time is Anime News Nina.
Yep, we've talked at length about why we like Anime News Nina.
And it's on the Anime News Network website. And today they posted the penultimate strip of Anime News Nina ever.
This is the second time I've been surprised by something like that ending without me paying attention and not realizing it was ending. It's All Politics, that podcast I really like. One day I just listened to an episode. They're like, yeah, it's the last episode at the end of the show. And then like the credits rolled. I just thought it was a joke. And then the next week, like there wasn't another episode.
Yeah.
And the next week there wasn't another episode.
Yeah, so there's going to be one more Anime News Nina, and then there's going to be 0 more Anime News Ninas.
It's so sad.
I know. But yeah, you should read that webcomic.
Well, now you know that it ends, so just read it all the way through. And you know what? The way I would sell Anime News Nina to you is thus. It makes fun of anime and anime fans in a way that is hilarious to anime fans, but also offensive to the kinds of anime fans we don't like. That's the best way I can put it. It portrays those guys in the way that those guys need to be portrayed.
Also, hot news elves.
Is that the main reason you read?
No.
You're into elves?
It's mostly that it's
You
funny.
always
You're the one
complain
who's
about
into
elves.
elves.
I am an elf in games. I don't like elves. In fact, I'm usually
Everyone get your audio editing software.
Dude, I was talking to Tor about this at Burning Con. If you take all the role-playing games I've played in my entire life, all of them, every session, and add up the hours having played different races in all games, I've easily surpassed 70 or 80% elf.
Okay.
And probably 60% fruity elf with a sword and possibly dancing. And gold-flecked eyes and all that. Yeah, I play elves is what I do.
You're not a news elf, though.
No, news elves are far more powerful than I ever was. But anyway, things of the day. So there is an amusement park called, or hotel and attractie park, Wunderland, Kalkar. It's in Germany, I guess.
Okay.
Yes, it's in Germany. And there's an interesting thing about this nuclear power plant. It's an amusement park. This is an old, abandoned nuclear power plant that was turned into a family amusement park with rides.
That's the best thing ever.
Like, look at this. That's just a nuclear power plant, straight up.
Yep.
And there's the park in the background. They made rides inside of the cooling tower.
Oh my
And the
God.
entire outside of the cooling tower is a rock climbing course.
And it's all not radioactive anymore?
I'm assuming it's not radioactive.
That's the best thing ever.
Yeah, check out this photo archive.
It was probably
This
the
is-
cheapest ass land ever because probably no one wanted it. And some genius figured out how to build an amusement park for cheap.
Yes.
Probably raking it in.
The 130-foot tall condensation cooling tower has rock climbing
It's
on
probably
the
mad
entire
cool in there
outside
too,
of it.
right? You're not going to sweat your brains out.
Well, there would be an updraft, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really awesome is how, you notice amusement parks are always built on like really cheap, weird land. Like Disney World was built in like this fucking swamp that no one wanted.
So
right?
should we make Paxtown in like some godforsaken place?
Exactly.
So maybe on one of the old Trinity
One of
test
those
sites?
underground rocket bunkers. Those are popular.
Those aren't big enough.
Don't they have giant rooms down there?
Not big enough.
Out next to the silos?
My mom and stepdad and I were exploring the entrance to one of those that we found out in the desert.
It's like the silos are too tall for a PAX, but I thought there's giant control rooms. that
They're
you
not.
can empty
They're
out.
not that big, and the space is kind of echoey.
Mm.
There are better places, I think. Detroit. There's a major
You know what?
airport.
It's centrally located.
Yup, they're one of the biggest airports in the world is
Plenty
right there.
of transportation and hotels that
There's
won't fill up.
Tons of gigantic convention centers. Fucking put it in Cobo Hall.
It's better than B-More.
Yeah, it's a lot better than B-More.
Main events, Joe Louis.
In fact, now that Otakon has left B-More, who's ever going to go to Baltimore again who's a nerd unless they live there?
Oh, who's a nerd? Nobody. But
Yeah.
Ravens fans and Orioles fans.
Ravens fans are already there.
I'm just saying.
They can't get out. Otherwise, they wouldn't be
Some
Ravens
of them
fans.
live, slightly far away from it.
Yeah, but they're trapped in the gravity. The sad part about this article is that part of the reason this plan exists is that Germany's decided to phase out nuclear power, like a lot of countries are doing reactively, which is just going to fuck us down the road. But that's a Monday topic, maybe a Thursday topic. I won't ruin your precious anime fan sensibilities by talking about it right now.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah?
Thing of the day. So, it's almost Halloween, the anniversary of Geeknights.
Halloween is a big nerd holiday these days.
The day of spookiness and woo. So, of course, in celebration of Halloween, one of the ghosts came out of wherever ghosts come from early, and he wanted to get his party on, so he went to rob the liquor store. So, check this out. It's a video. This guy, whoever took this video, should go call James Randi because he's going to win his $1 million prize for supernatural occurrences. There's a ghost robbing his liquor store.
I wonder... I gotta check right now. I wonder if anyone's ever made a video of the ghosting prank that people would do at RIT. Because if not, I know what we need to do. Okay.
No, they're doing a different kind of ghosting.
A lot of people have ghosting different things. So I'm gonna explain to you. Here's my Halloween gift. RIT had a particular prank that might just have been a thing at RIT.
I never saw it happen for real.
It happened on my floor once.
Well, your floor was fish.
My floor was Fish B. Fish B was a special place.
The crazy place.
There's a reason I spent most of my time over at Peterson 3.
Like, that place was infamous, and then I learned later, Rim lives there. Fuck.
Yeah, why do you think I was... Remember sometimes, you'd come down to the lounge in Peterson, I'd already be there? So I also had that roommate who I didn't know his name the whole time I lived there.
Yeah, and your room was the only room.
Because it was me and quiet dude. I lived with the guy a whole year. I would be playing Counter-Strike, and because the room was so small, he was sitting next to me, looking in the opposite direction. I never knew his name. Never said a word to him, other than once he told me, I think something blew up in your fridge. And that's when I found out that my wine bottle exploded and ruined the carpet. But I digress. Ghosting is as such. You're in a college dorm, hopefully a dorm other than your dorm floor. You make a ghost costume by cutting 2 holes in a sheet and putting it over your head. You walk onto the floor. You walk into someone's open door, going, woo, woo. You wait for them to kind of laugh. Then you suddenly knock everything over that you can knock over as fast as possible and then run.
And they don't know who did it because spooky ghost.
As long as you get away, and you will likely get away because they won't think to chase after you quick enough. And as soon as you get into a stairwell and there's no camera, you ditch that sheet and maybe...
Plausible deniability.
Yep. So I'm not saying that you should do this prank. I did not actually advise.
You should rob a liquor store because you're going to need some booze on Halloween for your party.
So yeah, meta moment. There's a big change happening to the Geeknights forum.
Oh, that's right. So
big news.
Basically, since we've had some forum issues where people couldn't join and there was spam and all these things
that are hurting this community now.
Right. We decided that we're going to go and basically pay to have Vanilla host our forum for us, which will make the forum way better and have better searching and all the things that people wanted. The problem is, our forum is so popular, it's going to cost us $150 a month, which is a lot of monies. Even though we have monies, we don't have that much monies. That's a lot of fucking monies. That's like 3 times my internet bill. All right?
So, one, you ungrateful fuckers.
Right. So we're going to probably, put a little donate button on the side and maybe give some bonuses to people who give us monies to help.
But don't worry, because you might recall from our numerous...
Legit bonuses, not bullshit bonuses.
You might remember from our numerous lectures on such topics, we understand that changing the rules of a community changes the community and are not stupid people, so trust us. Also, this may predicate the return of merchandise because I want to recoup some of this money, but... The main reason we have to do this is that if you might have noticed, we've never had an ad on any YouTube video or Geeknights thing we've ever done other than the ad you block on the side of the forum.
Yep. And so that ad you block on the side of the forum will still be there.
Yes, but we're not going to change that. We're not going to start putting ads on our YouTube videos, even though, actually, based on the YouTube numbers we could get a reasonable amount of money from that. I refuse.
No.
And I refuse to put ads in Geeknights. So... Yeah. Don't be ungrateful fuckers, and stay tuned for other changes related to this so we can make...
Toss us $1 instead of giving it to that homeless guy who's just going to buy booze with it.
Should we get someone dressed up like a preacher man and do a revival at the end of every one of our panels and then pass the collection basket?
We would not be allowed back at conventions.
Some conventions would not notice or care.
Some.
I bet some conventions we could charge at the door and no one would notice.
All right, other meta things. The book club book is...
Stasiland. I have now read six books in the time it's taken Scott to read this book.
Well, I was reading Torchbearer. And
Torchbearer. It's going to be 7 when I finish Torchbearer.
And I've been reading some 3DS games.
I'm now, in fact, an expert on the culture.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, and the new Luck Lamar book, powering through that. Also,
we'll
the rest
probably
of the Hunger Games books.
We'll probably do the episode. If we just say right now that we're going to do the episode next Thursday no matter what, I guess I'll read it enough.
Okay. Okay, is next Thursday Halloween? I don't think we're doing a show.
Why not?
Because I'm going to go to a fancy party.
Oh, let me check my calendar.
It's Halloween.
It is.
You want to go? Yeah, I'm going to a fancy party. I'm going to a video game party.
Ooh, spooky Halloween.
Maybe we'll record a Halloween special ahead of time. We'll see.
Yeah, unlikely.
Well, so the next Thursday after Halloween, unless I'm in Istanbul or something, we'll do Stasiland.
That's 4 Thursdays from tomorrow.
Whatever, kids. We used to do 4 shows a week for years.
We've been way lax on Thursday episodes and Mondays. Like, we are missing them all over the place. We might as well why don't we just only do Tuesdays
Whatever.
and Wednesdays?
I have found that when we do fewer episodes, we have more listens early on of the episodes we do. But we have more total overall in the long run if we do more episodes. Also, there's a Tumblr that is auto-tweeting. Occasionally, I'm still tweaking the format to get it right, but it is a curated collection of interesting and notable old episodes of Geeknights because there are a fucking ton of them.
Someone actually told me they actually use, there's still an RSS feed that puts out a random episode every day, and they said they still use that.
Wait, did we make that?
I made it.
Oh, I didn't know that existed, you fucker. I'll just use that to populate my Tumblr. Jesus Christ.
I thought but your Tumblr's curated.
It is, but I'd rather it be...
Random?
Yes.
Completely random.
Actually, maybe I'll make that. I'll have a random Tumblr that doesn't tweet and a curated Tumblr.
You're making too many things.
Because these things are all trivial to make, and they're driving traffic. People like them.
All right. Anything else to say meta-wise?
There is at least...
Go to MagFest, dumbasses.
Yeah, the Gaylord is fucking sold out, so
if you can't get into PAX, what the hell are you not going to MagFest
Yeah,
for?
Jesus. Half our friends aren't even going to PAX anymore.
If you wanted to buy PAX East tickets and could not get hotel and or badge, and you're not going to MagFest, which you can easily get hotel and badge, what the fuck is wrong with you?
MagFest is better than PAX in a few narrow specific ways.
In fact, I'm going to tweet right now.
1, it's 24/7 Hotel Con. PAX is not 24/7 like that. 2, it has an arcade the literal size of a football field. Physical arcade with all free to play. 3, the tabletop space in the con is 24/7. Otherwise, it's pretty much worse than PAX in every other way, but those things are better than PAX. And also, you can actually get badges. And also, the staff don't enforce a lot, so a lot of people are really drunk and doing crazy crap, and the culture is kind of weird, and it's not like other cons. Someday they're going to get sued, in my non-professional, non-lawyer opinion, after something goes down, but I'm just a panelist. I'm not a staff, so it's super fun, and you should go. So many years ago, we were in the RIT Anime Club.
And they liked to choose things to show based on certain factors. And one time it was Halloween, so they wanted to pick something scary or supernatural horror-based anime.
Now, when we chose shows, and when the executive
this
board...
was before we were choosing.
Yes, but when I was on the executive board and I saw the process, we pointedly did not show the club what they said they wanted to see, because that actually drove away the majority of people. So we pointedly...
If I remember, the thing that drew the most people ever was like Macross Plus, the movie.
Yep. One of the other biggest showings we ever did was the first 4 episodes of Gravitation, because we did a joint promotion with the LBGT acronym clubs on campus, and it was crazy huge. This was not one of our more popular showings.
No.
So what was chosen was a movie that even then, in the RIT Anime Club, significantly more hardcore than your average bear. nobody knew what the fuck this movie was.
Well,
And
the people who fan subbed it did,
Yup.
which were some of the people, right, at the time, some of the people who ran the anime club were like in the fan sub rings and circles.
yes,
And they like to choose the things to show that they fan subbed and then not distribute those fan subs in any way, shape, or form. So it was like,
yeah, some of the early
they like to feel all high and mighty because they would fan sub something, show it at the anime club, and then you would never be able to see it again. And be like, yeah, aren't we awesome?
Yep, some of the early Marmalade Boy fan subs were shown at our club and were not available anywhere else.
Yep.
Gatekeepers, and then the drama around Gatekeepers 21, but we've talked about some of that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So, notable line the first. There is a man in the credits of the fan sub, Ken Hashimoto.
The Blur.
Ken Hashimoto was a friend of ours at RIT.
He was. What was his? Was he the treasurer?
I don't fucking know what
the
he did.
secretary.
He was the Blur.
The Blur.
He is the Blur
Let's see if
in
he's on the internet.
Mega Tokyo. He was in Mega Tokyo, friends with those guys, and to this day, we know for a fact that he overheard us making this elaborate joke discussion about Mosh Mosh Revolution, and it appeared uncredited in Mega Tokyo the next week.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was sort of friends with what's his face.
Yep, and there's a long and some of the stories around him get into
what's the guy's name who makes Mega Tokyo?
Fred Gallagher.
Yeah, he was sort of friends with that guy.
Yep. And there's other dramas around this guy. There was a fun drama circle around the fan subbers and this guy and Mega Tokyo. Some stories we've told, some stories we can't tell ever publicly. Fun stuff. And he's credited for translating the missing lines. We were watching the movie again, and Scott saw that line, and I was like, what? Really? God damn. But this was shown at the RIT Anime Club. And there was always a talk at the beginning of the RIT Anime Club explaining what the show is and why they were showing it. And it was described as being scary and weird. Rintaro. Which I didn't know who Rintaro was back then.
We met Rintaro, sort of.
We did.
At Anime Next, and no one was there to see him but us.
That was the saddest thing in the world, sitting in that panel room that was basically empty.
And
while
we sort of actually saw him by accident.
Yeah, because we didn't know he was in the schedule. We walk into this room, like, what's going on in here? And it's just Rintaro being awesome, answering frank questions, and just telling great anecdotes. So, this movie starts.
Well, I think, first of all, you got to realize this is a 50-minute OVA movie. So made, like the late 80s, I think? Right?
I should have had the IMDb up already,
Yeah,
but
it's
I
made in
didn't.
87. So this is during the time when there was tons of monies for anime, right? And they were making all the sort of weird experimental animes, OAV style and whatnot, right?
Yeah, so notable things. Screenplay, director, Rintaro. Madhouse.
Yep.
So this was a pretty high production value thing.
The animation of this thing is pretty great for its time.
If you read reviews of this,
Still pretty great.
the interesting thing is that many people say something to the effect of, I don't know who this was made for other than Rintaro.
Yeah, it's
Made for him by him.
pretty much. It's one of those sort of artsy thing, like it should be in a museum, right? It's that kind of anime, that kind of thing that would be on Sci-Fi Channel late at night, that kind of thing where you watch it late at night and it's all quiet and weird and you sort of fall asleep during it. Or
So the cool thing is that it's rated kind of highly on Anime News Network with 41 ratings. But two, there's a news item linked to it.
Oh,
The
what?
news item is a fan subber update from November 18th, 1998.
Whoa.
I was in high school.
Anime News Network is that old?
Yes, I'm going to read an excerpt from this news update. Quote, 2 fan subbers this week announced the completions of projects that couldn't be distributed. First, already we're learning things about the culture back then. Lupin Gang announced Gall Force 2
And 3.
and 3 and Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro, but did have the public news to report that the group had solved their equipment problems and would therefore be able to complete Dan Cougar and Bewitching Nozomi and possibly Zeta Gundam in relatively short order.
Man, they're just cranking them out.
Yeah, they managed to find 1 generation copies of the laser discs of the Lupin the Third TV series.
Whoa.
So they're going to resume work on that shortly. It then goes on to talk about Genlocks and Violinist of Hamelin. I would be hard pressed.
Violinist of Hamlin. Whoa.
I would be hard pressed to find.
Whoa.
All right, I'm gonna name other anime that are listed here: High Speed Jessie, Cyber Formula GPX.
I know what that is.
Zetsui 1989.
Never even heard of that.
Take the X Train, which Blue Comet SPT Lasner.
I've heard of that.
The Dan Cougar OAVs, Euroden Samurai Troopers,
Yep.
Goldfish Warning.
Never heard of Goldfish Warning.
Yeah. So that is the era of Take the X Train in American fandom. The late 90s is American fandom. Early 90s, hardcore American fandom. Late 80s, this anime was made. It's on YouTube. We're going to link to it. You can just watch it. That's how we watched it again. So the Anime Club showed this. And I would say that 3/4 of the audience
Just
walked
walk
out
the fuck out.
in the first 5 minutes.
Because it was just weird and not exciting, and it didn't really have anything to hook you into it at all. Sort of like watching one of those French movies with the clowns crying and whatnot.
This is the kind of movie that you either have to be into
I watched the
experimental
whole
film.
thing at the time, and I was still like, what?
At the end, though, I remember feeling sort of, watching people walk out and thinking, what the fuck, guys? Come on. It's anime and it's weird. At least watch it.
I remember feeling at the end like, what did I just watch?
I remember feeling at the end, oh, fuck yes.
I
It
did
was
not.
all worth it for that moment.
No, it wasn't.
The moment at the end makes it worth it. Also, this is really an anime for someone, if I'm talking to anime fans, this is for you. If you're the kind of person who has watched a lot of anime, you are into anime. Anime is a big part of your life, and you want to see something different or something interesting, something odd. Because I've noticed that anime fans who get really into anime go in one of two directions. They either start watching like all of a show like Naruto or One Piece. Like they'll just watch these ridiculously long, kind of bad shows forever. Or they'll seek out increasingly strange and off the beaten path anime just to find something different from what they've seen before.
That's what this is.
That is exactly what this is. And the people who stayed to the end are mostly the kinds of people who like the kinds of anime that I like. Even though this is not necessarily something that I like, but watching it again now, it having been more than a decade since the last time I saw it, I remembered more about it than I thought I remembered.
Me too.
And I actually kind of like it, and I think I like it more now than I liked it back then.
I do like it more now than back then. It's not like my favorite or I don't care about it. I don't actively like want to watch it, but it's like it was not offensive to me.
It was
like,
weird.
Okay, yeah, it's a weird dark anime. All right.
Well, I guess what I like about it is that, one, it gives you that experience of the super slow Oshi movie that goes nowhere. And
But
is
you don't
super
like Not in the
atmospheric.
Galactic Railroad, even though it's pretty much the same damn thing.
I do not like the Galactic Railroad, but I do like Skycrawlers,
Same thing also.
which is similarly ponderous. And I could talk about why, but with
this is only 50 minutes.
Yes, this movie.
They managed to make it feel goddamn long
This
when it's
movie
only
feels-
50, less than an hour.
If you want to experience one of those super long atmospheric movies that you always fall asleep during, you can get that experience in 50 minutes by watching this. You'll get the experience of the 2-hour interminable movie. But you won't have to spend a full 2 hours.
All right, so what the hell's it about? You have this guy. I don't even remember his goddamn name. Right?
A guy who's into trains finally comes of his own.
Well, he's not that into trains. He just sort of works for a guy who's into trains. And that guy he works for is like trying to sell the railroad company like a new ad campaign. And the ad campaign revolves around this one particular train that's really old and like the emperor rode in it once. Well, it turns out that one particular train is sort of rusting away in a warehouse unused. And is probably going to be scheduled to be dismantled. So this guy, he just works for this other train guy. He's just in the advertising
He's not
company.
like an otaku. He's not a weirdo. He's just like a normal, boring salaryman.
Kind of. He's he's got a little bit of punk kind of attitude.
Well, you know what? He's
Little bit
quirky. He's got some personality.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's boring as a character, but he is definitely not the kind of character you see in a lot of modern anime.
No. So he just living his life, doing whatever, and then that train disappears. And then that train starts driving around town in the form of a ghost train made of electricity. And it passes by this guy while he's on the subway platform. And he's like, what the fuck? And so is everyone else, because just everyone sees it. It's on the news. Everyone's looking for it. There's no mystery whatsoever. It's like, yep, That train car disappeared, and there's a ghost train.
Now, I'm a big fan of ghost trains.
Woo woo!
Now, from this point, the movie gets increasingly weird.
Yep.
And the government gets involved, and this guy is probably psychic. Oh, by the way, when I asked you guys what my Twitter avatar was dressed up as, and nobody knew, Take the Rim Train. Yes, that's the guy. That's the main character. That's my Twitter costume this year.
Okay.
So, don't want to really spoil much because you've got to experience this movie. Telling you what happens beyond this does not help. What I will say is that I think the whole movie is worth it. One, because you can say you've seen it and you can recommend it to people. And two, for the final scene.
Mostly, I think it's worth it just for the animation. There's not too many things animated in this way with this level of quality.
Yep,
so
it reminds
you should
me a
see
lot.
all of them.
Like a lot of scenes remind me of Akira.
Yeah.
The
Similar.
character designs are cool too because the characters are all really unique and really different and really
Especially like the government guy with
Oh
the
my
weird
God.
mustache. And
I love the character designs in this movie because every character stands out as being so different. Even that baby that is on the train tracks.
It almost gets hit by the ghost train.
Yup.
And then it doesn't.
But the movie all leads up to, there's a moment at the end where a character says the phrase, "All right." And I
That's the
remember
end.
the few people who remained in the screening, at the RIT anime screening, yelled and cheered when that happened. Because that is not
I don't
how-
remember that. I remember people walking out quietly, like in a daze.
Yeah, well, because the movie keeps going after that a little bit.
I thought that was the end.
No, then there's more. He says, "Okay, baby, let's get going."
Oh,
and then
right.
there's the skull bit. And then,
Right.
yes.
Yep. Okay.
And then there's the long credit sequence that everyone always sits through because that's just what you did at anime clubs. You sat through credits.
Well, I mean, especially after watching a weird one like that, it's hard to get up. It's sort of like, what?
Well, I remember when they showed the Cowboy Bebop marathon, when the last episode ended and then the credits rolled, everyone just sat there silent. And the credits rolled, and then the credits ended. And then it just was quiet and everyone just sat there. No one would move.
People slowly meandered.
And then
out.
like a minute later, this fanboy broke the silence. He was like, "Well, that was pretty good." And then everyone was like, and then everyone wandered away. This movie is great at being what it is. There isn't really other anime like it. It's
one of those situations where a director just gets to do what they want for what they want.
And usually we say, yes, I want that to happen, but that's what you get when you see Oshii's live action movies.
Right.
You don't always want what you wish for.
No.
But at least with this, it's short enough to where it is not worth watching if you don't want to see weird stuff. And not weird like Kill La Kill, but weird like sad clowns crying. But if you call yourself an anime fan, and you know the names of directors, and you actually care about anime and the history of anime, if you know who Fred Schott is, people like that, you're the kind of person who needs to see this movie.
I'm sure other people who know about anime are going to be who know more than us about anime are going to be talking about all the history of this OVA and all the stuff about it that we don't know.
But the people
and you know what? We don't know that stuff. That's why we didn't say it.
The people who know that stuff are not in the modern anime community because the Anime News Network has nothing on this movie. It just lists the director, the creator, production house, and nothing else.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. A hidden anime dredged up from the past that you never heard of.
Also, a horror anime. This is horror.
Sort of.
I would say it fits into the
It's
definition
not
of
horror the way that, American movies are horror, or the way the ultra gory stuff in Japan is horror, but it is
in the genre of horror, and there are things that people like to say are horror in the anime world that are not by any definition. But this is the same genre of horror that is often seen in modern short horror fiction. Like if you listen to Pseudopod, that's the kind of horror. It
is just like a Pseudopod
not
episode.
mainstream horror, but sort of horror fans horror. Like
it is just like a Pseudopod.
Yes, this is horror for people who are invested enough in horror fiction to have gotten beyond Jason and Freddy being horror. Really, if you're an anime fan and you call yourself an anime fan and you listen to Geeknights, you should see this movie. If you like Naruto and One Piece and Kill la Kill and don't really, and like Attack on Titan and Full Metal Alchemist, and you really, really hate things like Akira or Skycrawlers.
You're not a good person.
And you probably would hate this movie. If you're like us, you'll find the movie interesting and you'll remember it and it'll be worth watching, but I'm not going to say it's great. I'm going to say it's worth watching. Also, it's free. It's on YouTube. Just watch it. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Like, it sucks that it's hard to get hotels.
Find
for PAX.
someone, wait for someone to cancel and grab their room.
No. So I have actually, I've talked to the hotels in the Westin at length, and I have 2 emails from them from a year ago that I have the numbers. Not as in 2012, 95% of the people who booked a room for PAX did not cancel it by the time PAX happened.
No, but there might be someone who's like, hey, I need someone in my room, or they hand it off to someone, or, you know, that wasn't a cancel at the hotel level, but that person may have canceled on PAX, you know, stuff like that happens.
But the less than 5% of people who have a room cancel it at any point. And the hotels do not let you transfer a room to someone else's name in most cases.
No, they don't. But how many times do you hear the story like, all my friends bailed on me, so I can't go now? I hear that story every PAX.
I hear that story too, but a lot of those people don't have a room in the hotel block in the first place.
Maybe, but you know what? When that story happens, that's your one chance. And then all the other people who failed to get that one chance, well, no chance.
Yep. But this is a convention that's occurring in April next year.
Should we even mention this news?
It's Wednesday, October 23rd, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, take the X train. Let's do this. I can't believe we haven't done a show on this movie, but at the same time...
What do you mean? You can't believe nobody's even talked about this thing in a zillion years.
But there are relevant anecdotes. There is a history of this movie and us.
There are.
There are reasons why we're talking about it. We have said for years around Halloween, we should do a Halloween special. Why don't we do Take the X Train? And then
Geek Night's anniversary special.
And then we just never did.
Yeah, it's Halloween, which means, let's see, it's 013, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
10, 11, 12. We can count like that.
This will be beginning our 8th year.
8th year of Geek Nights.
If Geek Nights was a little kid, it would be an 8-year-old kid. Be like, hey, kid, what's up? And be like, hey, how's it going?
And also, while we started on October 31st,
made a baby instead.
Granted, the longer we do this, there's sort of this, if they ever turn us down and they're like, no, Rim and Scott, you can't do a lecture this year.
Oh, fuck
that
me.
That would ruin my day at this point. Like, I couldn't even go. Like, I don't have a badge unless they let us in to do that.
If they don't let us enforce either.
I know. They're like, yeah, we don't need you as an enforcer anymore. And yeah, we don't need your very popular panels anymore.
Uh-oh.
You guys are too mean.
Uh-oh.
Too smelly. Some reason.
Uh-oh.
I would be so sad.
Uh-oh.
But if you wanted badges, you can pretty much... there's still some Fridays left. And there's still some Sundays left, but there aren't hotels. But just to reiterate...
There are hotels on the other side of town.
They're rapidly selling out. I was poking around in the side.
Even the ones over in the
you know what's not sold out? The Midtown Hotel. The one that's far away from Anime Boston, alone.
You can get a hotel like maybe, on the T.
Dude, the airport hotel was sold out of Thursdays and Sundays. Yeah. But... if you need a hotel and you can't get one and you try to complain about this, there is literally nothing anyone you could complain to can do about that. It's a decent number. I think all the betas are up there. I don't think there's any unreleased Geeknights at this point. But yeah, the reason we never did a show
There's
on
some
this,
lost episodes, but those got deleted by accident or some shit, so there's no way to bring them back.
Yep. And then there's I have collections of outtakes, and there's a lot of beta episodes we recorded but didn't put up because they were shitty, and then I think we just deleted them, but we put a lot of them online. So, yeah.
News time?
Well, news time, very briefly, because anime people, there's a big overlap. Yeah, PAX is sold out.
Oh, that's a shame.
PAX East 2014 in April is sold out.
That's a shame.
It went live today. There's no point in even saying, oh, well, we warned you or whatever, because the thing is, warning doesn't even help anymore.
People seem to have heeded the warning this time, and it was just who got in and who didn't.
It's a crapshoot. There's nothing you can do to have a better chance of getting into PAX unless, one, exhibit.
Be a loser
Be
who
a vendor,
sits at
be an
home
exhibitor.
every day that is not PAX, and all you do is reload.
Two, enforce. Try to be an enforcer. If you can't get into PAX.
Be cool enough that they let you be an enforcer.
Three, submit panels and lectures.
Be cool enough that they accept, right, Rim? Instead of making Geek Nights, we could have made a Bavy.
Maybe not together.
They got technology these days.
We did start on October 31st, but here's the deep secret of Geeknights. We have a lot of new listeners from recent conventions. One, we actually started months before that doing beta episodes that we only gave links to our friends. We were like, hey, we're doing this dumb podcast thing. Insert explanation of what a podcast is, because that didn't really exist as a thing back then.
Well, it had just come into existence. So I mean, it did exist for a while before then, but it didn't come into popular existence until
we had to
the day the iPod Nano was released. They updated iTunes and added podcasting in the podcast directory, and that is
the
when
flyers we brought to Otakon 2006 had a section that was like, "What is a podcast? How do you listen to them?" Good old days.
You don't need an iPod. If you can play MP3s, you can listen.
I think I have the flyers around somewhere. I can go find exactly what text we wrote. But regardless, so we did all these beta episodes before that, and it seems like our listeners are kind of obsessed with finding them. And they're out there. I checked. You can just go download them.
There's not that many of them.